Driving, proud to be supported by Diamond Bright, protecting, cleaning and caring for the Furious fleet and for yours with 10% off using code FD10. Follow the links in the description below. Hello and welcome to Furious Driving, and this is my 1990 Eunos Roadster, aka Mazda MX5, aka Mazda Miata, aka the best sports car in the world, except currently it has got 13-year-old semi-bald tyres and half of one suspension setup and half of another suspension setup, so it's kind of not that. But anyway, we're coming back to that in a moment, hopefully another video will get that sorted out. In my channel members and Patreons update video this week, I did point out that I think I have now found a solution for getting these wheel nuts off, but I'm waiting for the postman to arrive probably tomorrow. Then I can take the wheels off again and keep on fitting the max speeding rods, suspension coilover set up and get it all adjusted correctly at last. Oh, and as I did say to the channel members and Patreons, I really wish I'd explained about those nuts a bit more clearly, because so many people misunderstood and thought it's locking wheel nuts. It's not locking wheel nuts. These are called tuner nuts, and they are little wheel nuts that go inside the alloy wheel in like a little tunnely tube in the wheel, and then they've got an internal driving face, a bit like on a modern Volkswagen Group car. And so the key I've got isn't a clever locking key. It's basically like a big Torx socket bit, effectively, but with a different number of splines and a different diameter. So it's 12 and a bit millimeters, 8 splines. It's a fairly common style of thing in the aftermarket world. However, that particular size, very uncommon. But I'm hoping the set of all of the sockets will contain one that can get that off. Otherwise, it's hammering bits of metal in there and winding it off painfully and buying a new set of tuner bolts, which is about 20 quid off eBay. But considering I want to change these wheels in the new year, I don't want to buy new wheels nuts specifically for them. Anyway, I am digressing, because today's little adventure is going to be in bodywork, and we are going to be going full on Father Ted with this thing, because as you can see, this car has a certain amount of creasage in the wings. It's not terrible, but it's not great, and it does spoil an otherwise very, very nice car with its, well, donkeyness. So, to that end, I have been and borrowed a lovely set of tools, which are dent magician type PDR type bendy metal things. So, let's whip this inner wheel arch off as best we can with a wheel in the way, because normally you take the wheel off for this, but I'm impatient, and you are too, because this is how the internet works. Let's get underneath there and see what we can do. Right, so first thing to do is try and get the arch liner out so we can access the bodywork itself. And what you need is an 8mm socket to get inside there. Start cranking this car apart. I did soak it in Bulldog about 2 minutes ago, but already, and I'm genuinely shocked at this, like everything else in this car, it's just coming away so easily. It's unheard of. It's unnatural. Witchcraft, I tells you. While I'm doing this, I will just say a couple of quick things. If you're enjoying this kind of content about this kind of car and other retro cars and everything else, then please do go and hit the like and subscribe buttons. That kind of thing makes a massive difference to the channel. Having those little bits of information given to YouTube that you liked it enough to hit them, it then goes and shows other people, and the channel can grow. The other thing, of course, if you like this channel and you want to do me a massive favour that costs you nothing, just share one of these videos on social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever else, Threads, and spread the word of Furious Driving. Even if you want to just spread it to people to tell you how bad it was, it still gets out there. Engagement is engagement, you know. YouTube doesn't care. And if you're doing any Christmas shopping, then don't forget the Amazon link in the description below for all these Draper tools I'm using. The socket drive, the sockets themselves, the mat, the rechargeable lights, all this stuff over there on that there Amazon. And every time you click on an Amazon link, if you buy anything, even if it's nothing to do with what I advertised, it all comes back as pennies towards the channel, which does help the running of things. And of course, there's always a Furious Driving web store, where if you really love the channel, you can go buy yourself a hat or a mug. And of course, channel members and Patreons do get 10% off in the web store when I remember to post a link. What else is it bolted into? It's kind of hard to tell because there's a socking great wheel in the way. So much easier if it wasn't there. I just really need to pull it back far enough, there we go, that I can get the tools in there. There is a little brace which braces the bottom of the bumper. So here is the full set of different proby roddy things with different kinds of shape for different purposes, which I'm sure many people in the comments will be knowing all about what you're going to do with this, and so will be telling me which ones I've done wrong and how I've done it wrong in precise and accurate ways, but we're going to crack it anyway. I've watched a couple of videos, I've had a little stab on a couple of cars previously with this stuff, so we'll see where we get on. I think the trick with this kind of thing is just really slow and steady, and just try and be as careful as you can, just to massage it just gently. And if you go too far, get yourself a plenishing hammer, which I haven't got. I've got a 10-pound lump hammer, and knock it back into, or back inside again, and stretch it back and forth. Now that is quite a sharp crease just there, but I've got a lot of it out. This damage was actually caused by the car's own dry storage, believe it or not, because it was in a prefab concrete garage and a panel fell down on it. Oh, it's popping out. That's good. That's where the presence of the wheel is now becoming an issue, because I need to push where the wheel is. This is one of my boy is my face red moments. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but it just occurred to me that you can probably get to the back of this wing by popping the headlight up, and guess what? You can get through there. Much easier than trying to reach about 40 centimetres down the side of the wing. Not quite done yet, obviously, because it's got the crease itself down the centre, but that is a huge difference on how it was a few minutes ago. So I've made a couple of wee high points just there, which is a mistake when you get your thing in the wrong place and push it in the wrong place. Try and tap it back down with this little pointy thing. Right, so after a bit of time doing this, I've concluded this is actually quite skilled work. Blundering up with a set of tools and high ambition is not always the best solution. It is a lot better in terms of how deep the dent is, but that was just such a sharp crease just there that I can't get it all out, and this thick metal in a corner as well. I expect someone who knew really what they were doing could do more, but the paint is also cracked, and obviously it needed touching in just there anyway. That is quite badly cracked, and likewise up here there's still a crease in the centre which I cannot quite get rid of. I have had PDR people look at cars of mine in the past when people have door dinged them, and they have said that creases like that are really, really difficult to get rid of. So it's a mild improvement, but not as much of an improvement as I'd hoped for. Well, there you go. I'm amazed how good I got at PDRing so quickly. You can barely tell there was anything wrong with the car to start with. It's like a new panel almost, which is perhaps what is actually the truth. Yeah, I'm not that good at PDR, and that was quite a nasty crease. So yeah, there's about 7 hours in between that last bit and this bit. Let's go back and recap what actually happened. Right, okay, so we have a solution to getting the wheels nuts off at last. This tip came from Matt, who found this on eBay, sent me a link. Thank you, Matt, for this. You guys are like Google, because the wing under the big bubble wrap over there, that was also spotted by someone breaking a green MX5. It's better than having Google, honestly. But inside this set is, well, all these different kinds of unusual wheel nut fitting, and I think it's this one. Oh no, not this one, sorry. This one, which will fit. I mean, it's 35 quid I could have done without spending at this time of year, quite frankly. But unfortunately, this is the only way to do it. The only other option here would have been, because these are not, as I keep on trying to explain, locking wheel nuts. These are tuner bolts, and they've got an internally facing drive face. So this is why I'm using this kind of weird star key thing. There you go, internal weird star thing to undo these wheel bolts. So yeah, I could have forced something in there, forced them all off and bought a new set of nuts, but as I don't want to keep these wheels, that would have been an absolute waste of more money, because I'll be buying bolts that I don't need. At least this time, I've got a set of tools that I can probably use for something else in the future. This was actually, I think, the last one of these I tried when I opened this box in hope when it arrived the other day, and when the first couple didn't fit, I was like, oh, I've spent 35 quid, I really can't afford to lose on a tool that doesn't work. But luckily it does work. And while this is off, I will actually torque up all the suspension bits. Now you actually can do this without taking the wheel off, because you need to take, actually take the wheel arch liner out, but it's a massive faff. So I am taking the wheel off, and this is why I've held off doing this job until this tool arrives. Incidentally, I've just put a little bit of Bulldog on the tip of this, because I think the reason the other one broke is it was very hard getting these in and out of the those wheel nuts. There's a bit of corrosion in there. I'm not sure it's seated properly. And this is a really easy job, but all you need is an 8 and a 10mm socket. This is actually not too difficult. It's not as easy as a Rover P6, which has literally only got 3 bolts holding the front wing on, and of course a couple of little bolts holding it to the front valance. This is not much better, well, much worse I should say, than that. We've got a couple of bolts under here, which I've already put a bit of Bulldog lube on just to start things off. Got a couple of bolts, well, a bolt hidden right down the back behind the wheel arch liner, which is why that's got to come out. Got one up here in the bottom of the A-post to undo. And the most tricky of all, we've got one just here in the front, which I'm going to have to loosen the front bumper off just to get to. So what we have here at the front, we've got 2 bolts just here on the inside of the wing, and one which you can just see up there, which you can just see but you can't really reach. So you need to get under the front slam panel, pop the headlight and pull the bumper cover away a bit. And we've got 3 more bolts here along the top, which at least they're easy to access. Now you might find you have a bit of trouble getting these things to undo. They just spin and spin. What you need to do is put some force behind it, use a trim tool, then you can undo it and it'll come undone. Now amazingly, this is another bolt which isn't stuck on this car. I don't know what's wrong or right or something. Maybe I should have been doing Japanese cars all along and forget the British nonsense. Now you're going to want all of your extensions for this one. You can get your hand in there with a spanner if you really want and you're glutton for punishment, or do it with just a short one. But honestly, if you can get this all the way out of the wing, you can turn the spanner so much faster. It's a 10mm by the way. And that one is free! I was wrong, these are not the easy ones, they're insanely tight. Right, the only bolt that's actually really hard to get to is the one which is sitting here in the front, the nose of the wing, which is probably why it's so hard for me to do any kind of dent rectification, because it's all structure underneath there, it's really thick metal. So what you need to do is undo these top slam panel bolts, and then this whole thing can slide forward a wee bit, and that gives you a bit more access to get underneath the pop-up headlight and inside there. Right, this would be so much easier if I could find my 10mm ratcheting spanner. I had to undo yet another clip down the bottom there in order to pull this forward. Some people say you need to pull the entire bumper off to do this. We'll find out when we go back on again if we need to do that. You might find we can't feed this bolt back in. And away it comes, having undone all the extra bolts that weren't mentioned in the how-to guide on the internet. All I need to do now is disconnect this, which should be really easy, except I used a gallon of tape on it, because being Amazon junk. Alright, so that is now disconnected. That light can come out of that wing as well, so that is now to be put into the new wing. This can go get weighed in. Money back! But before I walk away, look how much dirt is caught in the bottom of that wing, so taking off these arches and hosing it out periodically, not a bad idea, because the rust is just starting to start there. I'm actually rather glad I've taken this wing off, because I've found a few little bits of actual rust spots just popping through. Well, not rust exactly, surface rust, where the paint underneath has flaked off. So I'm going to take this opportunity before the wing goes back on to rust kill it and prep it with some better underseal, so we don't have future rust problems with the front of the car falling apart. Okay, rather unexpectedly we've taken back quite a lot of little patches of paint to make sure that all the metal is exposed and not rusty. And also while I was down here taking a quick look at this underseal Mercedes W123 like, which is peeling away from the front of the car. While I've got the arch light off, it seems like a good opportunity to do this kind of thing. I know this isn't a restoration, but A, it's always a restoration, and B, this is an MX5, so if you're not anticipating rust, you've bought the wrong car. And I don't want to weld this one. Well, this has escalated, but nowhere near as badly as I thought maybe it might. It's got a big patch of loose removed under seal just here. The rest of it seems actually really good still, so I've not bothered taking that off. Only closed a little bit under the floor to where we added the new under seal underneath before. So this is all good. We've got this area off here, and that's flashing off now with the rust killer. Then I'll get this masked up while that dries, and hopefully the wind and the rain won't take it away. I've got to say, this is not something I was planning on doing right now. This is meant to be just a quick straight wing swap. Well, it was really fortunate I found a can of colour match paint in the boot of the car, which is like a great bonus. However, I think it might be slightly older than I anticipated, because the coverage is a little bit weird, where it's gone on in a little bit of a splurty manner. I've just demasked it to have a quick look at it, and yeah, well, I'll give it a second coat in a moment, but it's going to be hidden by the wing, so it doesn't really matter. But you know, I just want it to be the right colour and rust proof, and we'll load a bunch of wax oil stuff in here as well. Okay, now while this is all drying under here, we've got the green paint on the top for giving that some rust proofing in the correct body colour. We've used rust neutralising primer everywhere before that, and I've even got some of the Bilt Hamber, what's it called, the black stuff basically, rust neutralising and preventing under seal in this area that's going to be hidden by the wing when it goes on. I thought I'd better look at the new wing that I've bought, and unwrapping it in this ridiculous wind we've got today and the amount of bubble wrap they thankfully did use to pack it in, I did feel a bit like an extra from a 1980s rock video. However, we've got a fairly nice looking wing. The paint isn't perfect, it's a little bit more faded and a few more scratches, but this wing shipped was less than a wing for the Crown Victoria straight from Rock Auto, so you can't really complain about that. It even came with a free egg sack, which is a bonus. There is a little bit of early days bubbling here in the bottom. I'm going to quickly wire brush it off with the angle grinder and rust neutralise that inner bit there before it goes onto the car. Now, we did have one extra little bit of bonus good news in Junk in the Trunk over on T-Brake channel yesterday, I think it was. This is the correct badge for this car, which should be sitting just there. This is the Eunos badge, which is a little bit different to the Mazda badge because Eunos was technically a sub-brand of Mazda, but our Lexus or Infiniti. This is on here because the owner he worked at a place with a lot of Lotuses and his badge fell off and he replaced it with this. I just need to work out how to get this off without damaging the paint, then I can remount this in its place, which would be rather nice. Trim tools. Trim tools are brilliant for everything because they're not sharp edged and you can get them into places and just pry things off. Lovely. And that is now free. Well, that was actually a lot easier than I thought. Brake and clutch cleaner does a great job of dissolving the old sticky pads, and then Diamond Cut does a great job of polishing off the old marks. So big improvement just there. Don't forget FD10 at the Diamond Rock website for discount on everything on the website, and it's wonderful, wonderful car cleaning stuff. Now, I did measure this out beforehand, but I can see from the marks in the paint still where this was previously. And the thing is to make sure it's the right way up. Oh, that's not straight. Yeah, I'm going to go with that being straight. Lovely. That is nice. And while I've been shenaniganing with the badge, I've also been Bilt Hambering the bottom of the wing so it goes back on the car and doesn't rot, because we've got Bilt Hamber protection with the Dynax, what is this, UB there and there, so even though it is a dirt trap, hopefully it won't be a rust trap in future. Okay, I've had to use boxes of tools to weigh this thing down because it's so windy. The wing is actually blowing around. Also, it shows how lightweight bits of this car actually are. Right, let's get this thing back onto the motor. What I could do with... Whoa, don't go anywhere. That door being slightly open again. But not fully open, just about there. You stay there, maybe? It didn't stay there. Okay, so I think it's easiest to put this end in first. Line this up carefully. Yeah, there we go. Well, this wing looked faded off the car. On the car, against the shiny paint of the rest of it, it really looks faded. Now, I was going to go and cover all this suspension stuff in Bilt Hamber now I've finished inserting the new springs. Unfortunately, I left all my box of nice new Bilt Hamber in the boot of the Punto, which is now in the barn. So I'll come back to this on another day. However, I'm going to put the arch liner back in. It seems kind of a shame to do it now. I've got lovely shiny green paint and shiny, smooth, satiny black stuff in there, but you know, never mind. What is worrying me though, or concerning me I should say rather than worrying, is having seen how much goop was built up in the wing on this side, means I know I've now got to take off the other side over there, because that other side will be exactly the same. If you're swapping one wing for a new wing, you might need to harvest these little clips that go around the edge of the wing, because I was looking at this going, why can't I screw my bolts into the arch liner to the wing? Because I hadn't taken these little clippy thingy-majigics off the old wing to transfer to the new one. Right, done. Wing on, everything tightened up, arch liner back in, all this area here rust proofed, rust preventing, undercoated, green painted, and then Bilt Hamber under sealed as well. So yeah, all good. Just need to get back in there at a later date and rust proof that. And this has had a bit of torquing up as well while I've been under here. Phew, right, let's get the wheel back on. And we're done, except that we're not, because there's no way I'm leaving that like that. It's horrible having it all faded. So I've got the machine polisher out, let's grab some one cut and sort that out. Right, let's see what we can do with this. Oh, much nicer, because it was pretty flat before, wasn't it? Pretty sun-bleached. I'll be honest, the paint on this isn't as nice as the wing that came off, but obviously it hasn't got a massive great dent. I think, looking at these little micro blisters, this has been repainted at some point, which is a shame, because my plan here was that replacement wing, by having good paint on it, wouldn't need to be painted, but I think it still does. I will give that one more pass with the one cut, and then treat it to one finish as well. So there you go, we have achieved a lot today. We've had a go at PDRing. Turns out it's very difficult indeed, and if you've got very sharp creases in corners, it's really, really hard and borderline impossible to do the nudgy, pushy bits of metal out to make it right. However, we have got a new panel on here, and this, I don't think it's original Mazda paint, but it's a perfect match for Mazda Neo Green, British Racing Green. We've got these little micro blisters on here, which do suggest to me that this has been repainted at some point in the past, unfortunately. When I was thinking, as I was unwrapping it, maybe I should have taken the headlamp cover from the donor car as well, but having seen this, then perhaps that would be not perfect paint either. This does need to be painted, as does this little corner of the bonnet, but we can probably get that touched in and adjusted to fit as well, because something I hadn't noticed, the old wing, because it was smashed in by the concrete, it would also push down the lid cover of this, which also needs to be adjusted to match, but I think you just undo the screws and tweak it up a little bit. We'll sort that out later on. But we've done a lot today regardless. We've got this new wing on here, so that's now rot-free, dent-free, perfect, apart from the little double edge there. We've taken care of the emerging, about to be a rust problem. We've rust treated it, we've rust-proof primered it, green painted it, and then built Hamber under sealed it on both the inner wing and on the back of this wing, so this is not going to rust, hopefully. And we've cleaned out all the dirt in that dirt trap down there, which is fantastic, and we've even got the correct badge back on the car as well. So thank you to Mark from Simpsons Classics mini channel here on YouTube, who had one of these things a little while ago. Right, so thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please do hit like and subscribe, because that makes a massive difference as far as YouTube is concerned, as far as recommending this video to other people who might like it as well. And join me again very soon for, well, I'm hoping, almost certainly will, drag the Mercedes out of the garage and crack on with that one in the next couple of days. And tomorrow, which is going to be Friday, I've got a live stream. I've got a pre-Christmas or a pre-Christmas Eve live stream in the evening. I think I'm going to go for 7 or 8 in the evening. So keep them peeled on the socials, and hopefully you'll be able to come in and say hello. Otherwise, if I don't speak to you before, happy Christmas, but I'm sure there'll be videos for you in between Christmas and New Year though. So take care, see you soon.